back for another edition of the news in English on your Pan-African channel. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the 7:30. I am your humble host for this edition. These are the major headlines of the newscast.
Today's focus is the African Startup of the Week, Baobab Plus. The startup carried by the Microbird Group continues its development policy in West Africa. Next in Gabon, while free movement in the sub-region has recently been recognized by the heads of state of the Senate zone, Gabon has also launched operations to optimize its customs revenue while strengthening control border.
Ladies and gentlemen, so as I was saying, welcome to the 7:30, your English newscast on Level TV, your Pan-African channel. We open this newscast in brief and images and we move straight forward to Gambia as the president of the country, Adama Barrow, has officially appointed Fatoumata Jallow Tabajang as his vice president. Thursday, November 9, 2017 is the date of the woman's appointment. The president announced the news via his Twitter handle. He named her his vice president in January this year after beating long-serving President Yahya Jammeh in elections last December. The appointment was, however, mired in controversy as the nominee was said to have exceeded the age limit to hold the office. Local media reports indicate that the necessary legal rectifications were done in order to properly allow her to occupy the post. The president described her as a woman with a big and very helpful experience, which is required for rebuilding the new Gambia. Furthermore, in this newscast from Gambia to DR Congo, the DR Congo sends a trial 18 people, a group of militiamen, including a province lawmaker, for rapes of children in the country of Kavumu between 2013 and 2016. The details are given with Gauthier per channel.
18 people, including a provincial lawmaker, went on trial in Eastern Congo on Thursday for the rapes of dozens of children, victims' rights activists said. At least 46 children, some as young as 18 months, were raped near the village of Kavumu between 2013 and 2016, sparking an international outcry and criticism of Democratic Republic of Congo's government for its slow response. In June last year, authorities arrested Frederick Batumike, a member of parliament from South Kivu province, and members of a militia he is alleged to have led. Rights groups hope that the trial, which is expected to last 7 weeks, will strike a blow against impunity in DR Congo, where they say government forces and militia troops in the lawless eastern borderland have long used rape as a weapon of war. The trial opened in a military court in Kivumu on Thursday, with the defendants facing charges of rape, murder, and organization of an armed group. Jean Chrysostome Kijana, an activist representing the victims, said. Proceedings began 10 hours late and lasted just 20 minutes, during which the defendants' names were read aloud. The start of the trial is a strong signal in the fight against impunity, said Kijana.
On another note, the International Finance Corporation, in short IFC, a member of the World Bank Group, will bring its expertise to the next major international meeting dedicated to the African private sector, co-organized by the group Jeune Afrique and Rainbow Unlimited, which will take place on the 26th and March 27, 2018 in Abidjan. Ladies and gentlemen, watch. Since 2012, the Jeune Afrique Group and Rainbow Unlimited have been organizing the Africa CEO Forum, which brings together the continent's decision makers from both the public and private sectors. For the next edition, to be held in Abidjan on March 26 and 27, 2018, they will receive support from the International Finance Corporation, in short IFC, a member of the World Bank Group and the leading international private sector development institution in emerging countries. The latter will contribute in particular to the strategic priorities which will be at the heart of the debate, which include the development of capital market, the access of women to positions of high responsibility, the expansion of private education, the financing of startups, the improvement of good governance, or the access of young people to employment. For its part, IFC, in its new strategic orientation, places the development of Africa at the heart of its priorities. The increasing participation of public decision makers in Africa CEO Forum will also encourage public-private dialogue and thus create new opportunities for investors working in Africa, said Sheikh Umar Saidi, EFC's regional director for Sub-Saharan Africa. Talking about development and innovation on the African continent, the MTN Ghana Foundation celebrates their 10th anniversary and has spent $217,000 by handing out modern information communication technology, in short ICT equipment at the University of Ghana. Georgina Pega tells us more in this story.
The MTN Ghana Foundation was established in 2007, and for the past 10 years, the foundation has implemented over 142 projects in the areas of health, education, and economic empowerment at a cost of about $13 million. These projects have helped over 4 million people in Ghana. The MTN Foundation held a ceremony at the University of Ghana and gave 15 computers, 5 laptops, 3 external hard drives, a projector desktop, a braille printer, a laser jet, a projector, and a projector screen to the authorities at the Legon Assistive Technology Unit. Acting Corporate Service Executive Mr. Samuel Korateng in his speech said, "Today's program is very special to the MTN Ghana Foundation, because apart from providing special educational needs for the students to reach their full potentials in school, today's program is marking our 10th anniversary. The theme this year is celebrating 10 years of brightening lives, inspiring a brighter future."
As announced in the headlines, the startup carried by Microcredit Group continues its development policy in West Africa. Objective: reach 150,000 households in Mali, Senegal, Madagascar, and Côte d'Ivoire. Ladies and gentlemen, listen and watch the focus of this newscast. Baobab Plus, a seller of solar kits for rural African populations on the model of pay-as-you-go, has just launched a new product, educational tablets for tutoring or literacy for out-of-school children. The latter is not his first attempt in the field. Arrived in Senegal in 2003 after a childhood in the Paris region and studies at the Sorbonne and ESCD3 Lyon with a specialization Africa. He is the creator of Etika Dakar, a French business school offering initial and continuing training in partnership with the IAM, African Institute of Management, on entrepreneurship in the Southern Hemisphere. This initiative is part of the continuity of the supply of solar kits offered by Baobab Plus. A solar kit costs between $150 and $500, which is a considerable sum for rural populations in Africa. This model offers the possibility of paying 30 to 50 euro cents a day, particularly via mobile banking. The startup has based the daily price of its system on the average expenditure of a rural household in terms of energy, an amount that it estimates at 300 CFA francs. Baobab Plus, launched in Senegal in September 2015, is led by Microcredit, which Alexander Costa joined in 2006 and where he held cross-functional positions, including marketing director in Madagascar and Côte d'Ivoire. Pay-as-you-go technology developed a few years ago in Kenya by a former M-Pesa allows him to control remote solar kits and ensure payments. After Senegal, kits were launched in Côte d'Ivoire in May 2016, in Madagascar the following month, and in Mali in December 2016, reaching a total of 50,000 households. For Alexander Koster, the goal is to reach 150,000 households by the end of 2018. Baobab Plus has received the support of the European Union to the tune of 500,000 euros to develop the offer pay-as-you-go in Madagascar and US aid for 600,000 US dollars for all its activities. In the same line, Yetu, Prosumer's online business website, should see the number of referrals it proposes to double in 2018, while withdrawal of online purchases will become possible in each of its chains, 161 outlets in the country. Listen to the details. A year after the official launch of its online trading site Yetu, Prosumer Supermarket Group goes on the offensive. Since November 9, a third point of withdrawal of purchases is operational, and from 2018, all 161 points Prosumer sales and stores in Abidjan, San Pedro, Bouaké, Yamoussoukro and Daloa will provide this service, while the partnership with La Poste in Côte d'Ivoire, allowing delivery of home purchases, will continue. Yeto also plans to double its product range in 2014, which has already grown from 4,500 to the launch of the site to 8,000 today, the most popular being technological items via the local franchise of the FNAC carried by Prosumer. To counter its competitor Jumia, which has opened its online trading platform to several small sellers and offers a wide variety of references, Dugnan Coulibaly intends to solicit large local players with a line of sight Uniworks, the leader of the loincloth. Signs such as City Sport, Sporting Goods and Equipment, Kiabi or Celio should also be relays of this rise in power. These franchises all belong to Adnan Hudru, shareholder of Prosumer. Monthly sales are currently growing at a rate of 30%, a figure still insufficient to ensure the balance of accounts by 2019 as planned. If Yeto receives an average of 250,000 visitors per month, only 1 to 2% of them concretize their visit with purchases, which they settle mainly in cash on delivery. This method of payment is indeed adopted by 63%, 8% favoring the mobile banking, and 25% opting for the bank card. Time for environmental talks. In this newscast, we usually talk about a lot of benefits about tourism, but there is one aspect we do not often talk about. It is sex tourism. Thibaut Otungu Tabaga gives us more information on the matter. Listen.
It's like a global system. People are traveling everywhere. They know they can do it in some places without having too many problems or struggle to get what they want. We know that sooner or later it will happen.
Whenever it comes to this sexual tourism, it is Asia that is targeted, and especially Thailand or the Philippines. But there are also destinations in Africa that are unfortunately affected by this phenomenon, even if the subject is taboo. These include Senegal, especially Salé, a seaside resort that is a place of clandestine prostitution. This is also the case in Gambia, Cameroon, Mauritius, Morocco, Kenya, and many other destinations where the phenomenon has grown. Hotels often turn a blind eye to these practices, and the authorities too, because tourism has a huge impact on the economies of these countries. With the influx of tourists on the continent, problems like this should be also addressed, as some tourists could travel to satisfy their sexual fantasies with locals, while some others are also pedophiles. The explosion of international travel over the past 20 years has also been a boon for exploitation, so this is not an issue that should be ignored, especially for countries seeking to develop their tourism industries. Since the acts are hidden and rarely reported to the police, it is difficult to obtain figures. Let's not forget that adults are not the only ones to be affected by sex tourism. Unfortunately, minors are involved also. In Africa, the subject is taboo because in general, tourists are welcome like kings. Minors are offended either by suburban adult or anti-pedophile tourism associations, but especially by NGOs fighting against pedophilia. In general, when Western tourists are arrested in parts of Africa, they are never detained for long because of corruption. Some authorities are afraid of harming tourists, as this could have a considerable impact on their country's economy.
Time for culture. Is Mecca too far? The question is worth asking as thousands of Senegalese Muslims head for Touba in Senegal for pilgrimage. Let us listen once more to Thibaut Otungu Tabaga.
A lot of Senegalese Muslims not being able to take the trip to Mecca for the pilgrimage could afford an 18-hour journey in a rusting 7-seater taxi to reach the holy city of Touba, where pilgrims queue as they wait to enter the tomb of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, the founder of the Murid Islamic Brotherhood, in Touba on the 8th of March 2007. More than 1 million pilgrims converged on the remote northeastern town in Senegal this week for the Grand Magal, or Great Pilgrimage, which commemorates Bamba's exile by French colonial authorities in 1895. Once a Judi village in Senegal's remote northeast, Touba has flourished thanks to the power of the Murid Islamic Brotherhood, whose founder Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba ordered his devotees to observe an annual pilgrimage to his birthplace. More than 40% of Senegalese 11 million people are Murids, a branch of Sufi Islam. The Grand Magal, or Great Pilgrimage in the Wolof language, draws over 1 million people to Touba, shocking its street with pilgrims, peddlers, and beggars. Some pilgrims say, "What you have in Mecca, the Prophet recreated it in Touba," which is a good thing for those who do not have enough money to make it to the pilgrimage to Mecca.
Sporting news, Hugo Broos, the actual coach of the Cameroonian national team, won't renew his contract with the Central African country. The reasons are given in this story by Giovanni Ondamba.
On Saturday, November 11th, Hugo Broos will lead his last game from the indomitable Lions bench in a match for the qualification to the 2018 World Cup of Nations against Zambia. In fact, Hugo Broos is not willing to renew his contract with the Cameroonian authorities. One of the reasons for this refusal is actually about the 4 months arrest in the payment of his salary, estimated at 47,000 euros per month, a situation he has reminded several times since his appointment in February 2016. Moreover, some of the professional fees have not been yet refunded. According to a report, Hugo Broos has just sent a letter to Bigung Pact, the Cameroonian Minister of Sports, informing him of his decision. The coach of the indomitable Lions should confirm this information during the pre-game press conference he will give this Friday ahead of the game against Zambia.
Of course, you were watching the news on Label Television, the Pan-African channel of the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for choosing us to inform you. At exactly 8:30 Central African time, you will receive the information in French. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.